And the one person I said that we have to talk to as soon as this news had came down on my phone was like, I got to hear what Chessa Bouche's got to say about this Lane Kiffin drama. We have been pestering you for weeks, and we apologize on the front end before we ask you all these 8 million questions. But we were talking during the break, and you have ties to both Ole Miss and LSU. Of course, some of your college days, your college days as an undergrad were spent there in Oxford, but also you bleed purple and gold from the time you were young to the team that you cover now as a professional. How did all of this land now that Lane Kiffin is officially a Bengal Tiger?
Man, my phone has not had this much love on it in years. And maybe not all the, positive love, because you have love, you love, and then you hate, and it's a mixture. And so it's kind of been from both sides. I will tell you, a few years ago when the whole Mike Bianco fiasco, could he come to LSU, all of that went on, and then of course Ole Miss ended up winning the national championship the next year, and so then my timeline was divided from all the Tiger fans and then all the Ole Miss fans and the people that know that I got my undergrad from Ole Miss and then I got my master's from LSU. So they were like, who do you root for? And I just put a picture of the Intimidator that has all the national championships and was like, I know y'all got one, but when y'all can come and match that, then we can have this conversation. So that kind of put it to bed. I feel kind of the same way with football. Football has been more competitive because of what Lane Kiffin did there in Oxford, and I respect that and I get that. I told Brian Holland, my sports director, as soon as they hired Lane, I was like, they're going to be something to watch for because he has been successful wherever he goes. I was excited about it because I like when Ole Miss is competitive. Now, I don't want Ole Miss to win a national championship ever, much less beat LSU. So when Lane came and he started beating LSU, I was like, I'm not a big fan of this, but I love Lane Kiffin. So it's been a mixed bag, needless to say, and my phone has been ringing off the hook. Everybody wants to know how do I feel, what do I think, and I think LSU knocked it out of the park, that they went and got their guy that was the #1 target, and they were going to say, hey, we'll do whatever and make it worth your while, and you're not going to be able to say no. And I think that's kind of a product of what we've seen, and I think Lane Kiffin again hit another home run with the introductory press conference. I like that he was a bit emotional, he was honest, and he was genuine. That's what I truly felt when he was talking about it. When he first got up there, he was nervous and he was kind of stuttering. You could tell he was uncomfortable, but I think he finally felt comfortable and safe to be who he is. And Lane Kiffin is one of those people, which very much like Kim Mulkey, either you like him or you don't. And people are the same way with me. Either you like me or you don't. And that's okay. I still sleep at night with a fan on and it doesn't bother me, and I'm not going to let it bother me because I was not born that way. I could not live that way of trying to please people. So I am who I am. It takes a lot. Either you love me or you don't. And the same with Lane. And I think he's the man for the job. I think if you look at all the coaches, despite the pedigree, just him as a person, he can take a lot of heat, and he doesn't mind taking a lot of heat, and that's a good thing, especially in Baton Rouge, because if you're not winning, you are going to feel that fire, that flame from the fan base. And I think he has that tough skin that you need here in Baton Rouge that we saw from Brian Kelly. He didn't have enough of that thick skin, calling everybody spoiled. So I think they got the right guy. I'm excited to see what he brings, and I'm excited to see the roster that he puts together.
Chessa, when Lane did that interview on the tarmac with ESPN's Marty Smith, and Marty asked him, like, why did you make this decision? And he didn't really give, like, a good answer, so to speak, something that you might have been looking for. Now, this is pure speculation, but why do you think he chose to head to Baton Rouge rather than stay in a place that he openly admitted to saying, hey, I found myself here in Oxford?
I think it's easy to look back and say, hey, 3 out of the 4 previous head coaches all won national championships. And I think he knows, I mean, he's been in Tiger Stadium. It is a different animal. It's a different feel. This fan base is next level, and they have high expectations. You go to Oxford and you have, a 10-win season. That's phenomenal because they had never had that before. But that's the bar. And when you are competitive and when you want to be the best coach in of all of college football, and you say, hey, if I go and do that at this program, I can do it there because it's been done. Lane Kiffin is full of himself. He knows that he's a better head coach than Ed Ogeron. He knows he's a better head coach than Les Miles. He knows that, and he's willing to say, hey, I'm going to go do what they did, and I'm going to do it better. So for me, I think that was his reasoning. I think he looked at the roster. He saw at Ole Miss, and he was like, hey, yeah, they're in the college football playoffs. This team's not built to win a national championship. We can all be honest and say that openly. Now, if they go and win it, I will say, hey, I put my foot in my mouth. I was wrong. But until they do that, I mean, they haven't had an SEC title championship yet.
Mm-hmm.
What are we waiting on? You know?
Right.
And so Lane Kiffin wanted to go to the program that he has the best opportunity to show, hey, I am a good coach. I'm going to put my name in the cement and say, hey, I am one of the best in the country, and I'm going to do it here in Baton Rouge.
Absolutely. One of your insights that I truly loved is, and I heard it from a few places, but I think you articulated it the best. It was that Lane Kiffin really, he loves the attention. And you kind of compared it to like that pretty girl in high school or in college. It's just like, whatever it is, like people talking about him, he loves it. But there's also a side of him that is about pure business and about pure football. And you saw it there at Ole Miss. Do you think that he'll still be able to blend both of those worlds? The troll that we all kind of like and love, and the attention seeker that he likes and love about himself, and keeping up with the Juice Kiffin stuff, and with the actual expectations that are on the field, because the expectations, as you mentioned, aren't the same in Oxford as it is at Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be challenging for him because, again, you go to Oxford and the bar is really low, and you can kind of fly under the radar and you can put together a good roster. But if you don't reach those expectations, it's like, hey, you're okay. You're still doing something that other coaches haven't been able to do. That's not going to fly in Baton Rouge. So I think there's going to be a bit of a learning curve. I think he might, I don't want to say pull the reins in a bit, but he might not be the big time troll and stay trolling to that level until he actually earns it, if you know what I mean. Like, if he's successful, then I think he's going to be nonstop. But I think in the process, I think there's going to be a little bit of a, hey, let me go do before I say a lot, and I haven't done a lot. So I think we've seen him grow. He's matured. I still think he's going to be a troll. I just think it might be reined in a bit because of where you are. And I mean, LSU is already one of the top brands in college football. You get a lot of criticism, attention, all of the above, and you got to back it up or you're not going to be in Baton Rouge for very long.
I tell you what, if there's a timeline for him starting this trolling, I see the game in Oxford next year as the perfect start to the trolling if they don't get on the trolling here first. But I got to ask, he's a big hot yoga guy. Has he found, are there good studios there in Baton Rouge?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yoga Lottie's is like top tier. And that's the first one he went to. And I was like, bro, you already set the bar so high.
Oh, boy.
You need to stay
It's like going to the best
there.
restaurant the first time.
Bruh, I got so embarrassed there by the 70-year-old woman outdoing me. And I'm competitive. I'm a former athlete. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this too and try to do some like flying. Your leg is up in the air. And I almost face planted. And I was like, man, maybe I'm not built for this yoga. So I think he started with the best one, and I'm pretty sure he'll be going back to that one because none other compare in Baton Rouge to Yoga Lottie's. That's the place to be.
Should I try it? Like, should I try it? Yes?
Wow.
Yes. It is so hard.
Okay.
Ooh, that does it.
I gotta find a class.
It just looks difficult. Yeah. You know, and I'm like, I'll stick to some weights. It just looks hard. It looks hard to do. How quickly do you think that Lane Kiffin, because he's like the, I guess, self-proclaimed portal king, and he killed it in Oxford. Of course, everybody wants to go to LSU. Is going to be an easy place to recruit to. How quickly do you expect to see Lane Kiffin and his team at their best moving forward? I know that they're a bit of a late start. All these coaches have a bit of a late start as it relates to this year's signing class, but he's proven before he can kind of microwave a team. How fast do you expect to see it be successful there in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I think with him getting in on Sunday and then only having that small window of Sunday night and then the 2 days that you can't really talk or do a whole lot. So I think he's kind of behind the 8 ball in this class, but I think especially with the signing period, in February where it's the whole shebang. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll see a bit of a difference. We've already seen some guys flip, some of this new coaching staff get rid of some of the guys who had been committed because maybe they don't fit the mold of what Lane Kiffin is looking for. So I will say that I expect a lot more movement, especially with the portal and the signing period in February. But I think next year will be the year he'll have a full year under his belt. He'll have his coaching staff the way he wants it. And I think you'll see the recruits really flood in. I will tell you, at the introductory press conference, I went up to Jay Johnson, who I I mean, he is called the Portal King here in Baton Rouge. I went up to Jay and I was like, Jay, who do you think's going to be the better Portal King here in Baton Rouge? And he started laughing and he pointed to Tiger Stadium. He's like, that's hard to beat. And I was like, yeah, but the Intimidator. And he just cheesed so hard. And he's like, we'll see. And I was like, ooh. So it might have lit a fire under Jay Johnson, which I don't think anybody in the country wants to hear that, because Jay Johnson, I swear, that man does not sleep. He is next level when it comes to recruiting. But I think Kiffin's going to give him a run for his money. Like you said, it's the brand. It kind of recruits itself. And then especially, I mean, there's a guy from East Ascension High School, Bryson Martinez. He's an offensive lineman. They used him so many different ways this year, and he signed pen to paper to LSU yesterday, and he was cheesing because we've seen Lane Kiffin do defensive tackle scoring touchdowns. You don't think this man who's 6'7", who's a beast, and he's supposed to be on the O-line, I can see him catching touchdowns. That's what he did this year, played every position. I feel like Lane Kiffin's going to have some magic with Bryson, because that is one of the most athletic 6'7" dudes I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, how does he move like that for a 6'7" dude? So I'm interested to see what Lane does with him, because, again, it's another weapon offensively, and Lane knows what to do with those.
While we're on the topic of recruiting, obviously this is the early signing period, and Lane has flipped a few from Ole Miss, and then on the other side, some have flipped from LSU to Ole Miss. I want to touch on Lamar Brown real quick, because he was the first recruit that Lane talked to when he got off the plane in Baton Rouge. He decided not to sign in this early signing period. I know he said he wants to see the offensive staff here before he finally makes his decision. Are you a little worried about him potentially flipping?
I kind of go back and forth on that. So Lamar Brown is one of the best defensive linemen in the country. He played offensive line for U High this year. They're getting ready for their semifinal playoff game tomorrow night. I think because the defensive staff is still in fluctuation, because he will play on the defensive line at the next level, that he's trying to wait and see who's going to be his defensive line coach. So I think that kind of matters, which I respect. If I was him, I would do the same thing. Yeah, you're still verbally committed. Yeah, you've been a huge recruiter itself at LSU of saying, hey, come play with us, come play at LSU. U High is literally in the backyard of LSU's campus. So I feel like he's probably still leaning heavily towards LSU, and he will sign. I know that they talked about he could potentially sign tomorrow, but more than likely he'll sign in February. So it's kind of up in the air, but I agree. I think he's making the better choice of waiting and trying to say, hey, who is going to be my position coach? That's who I want to know who I'm going to be playing for next year. So I think it's a smart move. I don't like it in the recruiting cycle just because we all know anything can happen. But I get it and I understand it. Yes, I'm like, sign it right now. You can be there in January. Let's go. But I get it. I think it's a smart move for him and his family.
Absolutely. One final football thing before we move to basketball, and you could probably answer this in a yes or no question. We've seen the exits for Lane Kiffin. You might have the 5 ugliest ones of all time. We've seen the Oakland Raiders, Tennessee, USC, even Nick Saban kicked them out of Tuscaloosa before the national championship game. Are there any LSU fans, and you can speak generally or specifically, that are maybe 1 foot in, 1 foot out, side-eyeing Lane Kiffin, like just to make sure, that you don't see the grass might be greener with the Green Bay Packers or, with another program somewhere else? Or are they fully like, hey, this is our guy and we think that he really will stay a Tiger for life?
I think it's hard, especially in the landscape of college football nowadays, for anybody to say, hey, they're going to stay here in one spot, because we just haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I think with the history of the program, with what LSU is willing to do to keep him and say, hey, this is your team, this is your program now, we support you in whatever way we can. I think that shows a little bit more of a willingness and a responsibility, might not be the right word, but hey, I'm committed and I'm going to do that. Let's be honest, it wouldn't be ugly, messy, I don't want to say breakups, but like leaving a program. You're not upsetting a fan base if you're not winning. But when you're successful and you're winning, then of course they don't want you to leave. They want to live the great glory days and have these historic seasons and do all the things. I think the way that Ole Miss handled the situation might not have been the best way. I feel like Keith or AD was kind of saying, hey, you're not going to coach in the college football playoffs. Don't you just want to stay here and be in Oxford forever? But like, I can tell you, I was in Oxford for 5 years. It gets old after a while because there's not a whole lot to pick from. So when you go from a small town like Oxford and then you go to Baton Rouge and then you have New Orleans just an hour and 15 minutes down the road, I think it's a better landing spot and it has more to offer, especially again with the fan base of how they support you and how they're going to show up and how they're going to do things a lot differently. I mean, Tiger Stadium for Clemson is going to be bonkers. The last time that stadium has been that lit was when LSU beat Saban with Brian Kelly in year 1 in overtime. Like, I cannot even tell y'all how nuts that place. They're going to be tailgating Friday night going into Saturday morning. Like, it's going to be absolutely bonkers. But again, you're talking about Oxford, Mississippi. They had to freaking put in fake crowd noise and do all this stuff to make it such a intimidating environment. That is not the case in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's not going to be the case, especially with somebody like Lane Kiffin leading this program.
Yeah, he's not going to have to worry about the student section not showing up for any of those games. But we'll see what the LSU football team looks like next year. We don't need to speculate on the women's team because, I mean, I got to say, I should have listened to you in the beginning because you said this might be one of Kim Mulkey's best teams yet. And they continue the 100-plus points. I think it's in 8 games right now. I feel like they're kind of getting disrespected. I think they're 9th in the AP poll right now.
I think they're 5th. In the AP poll.
That still might be a little disrespectful, I think.
Yeah, but I think that comes with they always want to hate on Kim Mulkey's easy non-conference scheduling, which I get it. I understand it. You don't get excited when they're playing against a Tulane or they're playing against smaller schools where you're like, man, let's really see what this team looks like against great competition. I told y'all this is by far the deepest team I've ever seen, and I think it's impressive. 7 players on this team are averaging double digits. That's hard to do when you have that many players that can score, and 7 of them are averaging that. So to me, I just think it shows their unselfishness, the way that they're playing together, while they really just, the chemistry is there, and that's so rare. Especially you go back, and I think I've said this before on y'all's show, only 2 starters from last year's team, and you have 7 girls averaging double figures. They're playing well together. It's just, I think this team is really special. I think you have some of the best talent on that roster, from freshmen to, again, Flau'jae Johnson to Michaela Williams. We call her the smooth operator. Like, and then we're not even talking about Malaysia Fulwiley. That woman is one of the most electric players I have ever seen in my almost 40 years of life. Like, that is incredible. I don't want to miss a game because I don't want to miss an amazing play by her. Like, I'm just like glued. I'm like, what is she going to do next? And that's exciting. And that's what Kim Mulkey thrives on, especially when she trusts you and she's like, hey, this is y'all's team. I think it's a product of them having great chemistry, super talented, and their unselfishness is really showing its head. And I love it. It gets me excited to see when a team plays so well together, especially so early on. But they're going to play against Duke on the road in the indoor tonight. I'm interested to see how that one unfolds, especially with there's been a little bit of trash talk on social media. So it's like, what is this going to look like?
Yeah, you teed that one up actually perfectly, the ACC SEC Challenge, and it's a really interesting spot for Duke because if you just look at the record, it doesn't look all that impressive. How they're 3-5 going into this game. However, they've already played South Carolina, they've already played UCLA, 2 teams in the top 5. They've already played Baylor as well, lost all 3 of those games, but they're undefeated at home. And you mentioned they're going in there at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I expect the crowd to be crazy with the top 5 team in the nation in LSU coming in tonight. And LSU right now is 2-0 on the road. What will they need to do to be able to continue that streak, stay undefeated, and maybe once again eclipse 100 points?
I think comes down to rebounding and being smart with the basketball. If you can out-rebound a team and you shut down their second chance opportunities, it gives you the upper hand. I think we've seen that from them. I've told y'all before, I think defensively they need to learn how to play together a little bit better. But again, Kim Mulkey's defenses, especially, you're always playing man-to-man, so you're challenged. So it's trying to figure out, hey, if I'm coming off that ball screen, do we need to switch, or how do you go back if you are switching and stuff like that. Just the little nuances that I think because they've had 8 games under their belt, they're kind of learning to play together. So to me, you got to rebound. We know defense travels better offensively, but offensively they've been on a roll. So if they're shooting lights out, I think it's LSU's game to lose and to hand Duke their first loss at home, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
Gee, you left out one of the teams that Duke played.
Who's that?
Forgetting about my Mountaineers.
Oh, Virginia Tech. Or West Virginia.
Whoa! That is a sin. That is a sin in Appalachia.
I was still thinking Virginia Tech from a hiring a football coach because we were talking about LSU earlier. But no, they did play West Virginia.
Yeah,
true.
And West Virginia beat them with 5 people in the second half.
That's right.
Because all the bench got kicked out.
All the suspensions and ejections. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Go Mounties.
I love it. Chessa, you've been awesome. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insight. And I personally am happy for you because you will never be bored at a press conference ever again with Lane Kiffin in the house.
Right. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm like, yes, we go from BK, who was a little dry, to like, you better keep up with Juice Kiffin. You better keep up with Lane. You better keep up with all of that because I feel like he's going to kind of put those nuggets in for everybody. And I'm like, ooh.
Is Juice still in Oxford? I know there's a big...
Yeah, apparently he's on his way to Baton Rouge. That was tweeted out yesterday because all of the fallout of them saying that wasn't even Lane Kiffin's dog. He was a rescue dog, and it's an Ole Miss. Ole Miss is, the primal owners, and so... I guess he's headed to Baton Rouge.
Just
and I told my
another
fiance, I was
twist
like,
in this story.
he's about to be in all the Canes commercials. Put money on it because that's what they do.
I just can't wait for the first practice and he makes Wet Weeks run. You gotta run sprints on the field, man.
That'd be the first thing. Just take a hike. Take a hike, son. Take a hike, son. We all know why. So you're the best. I appreciate it so much here.
Y'all have a good one. Thanks for having me.
You too.